regular meeting of the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees is now called to order at 11:34. Pledge of Allegiance. Aurora, would you lead us in the pledge?
It's my honor, Madam Chair. Hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
President Kinnaman, roll call.
Student Trustee Delgado.
Present.
Trustee Wilson.
Here.
Trustee Mary Jane Sanchez Fulton.
Here.
Trustee Fred Yonop.
Present.
Trustee Bonnie Stefan.
Present.
Trustee Becky Broughton.
Present. This time we ask for comments from the public. Persons who wish to speak to the board on any item not already on the agenda may do so at this time. There's a time limit of 3 minutes per person and 15 minutes per topic, unless further time is granted by the board. Your comments will be timed, and you'll be asked to stop speaking when the timer sounds. This time limit will be doubled for members of the public utilizing a translator to ensure the non-English speaker receives the same opportunity to directly address the board, unless a simultaneous translation equipment is used. Please understand the board welcomes your comments, but we're not able to respond. I've been given a request to speak, and Mary Shambach.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Mary Shambach, and I'm here today as a Coachella Valley resident and also as Vice President of Learning and Retirement. As a resident, I'd like to briefly state how proud I am of College of the Desert and your programs and your commitment to the education of all Valley residents. I've long been impressed by your programs and the increasing breadth of your outreach, and I'm proud to represent one part of that outreach, which is Learning and Retirement. We are a constantly growing organization which focuses on providing educational opportunities for all area residents over the age of 50. Our students have maintained their passion for learning, and for $60 a semester, they can take up to 5 classes. Topics range from the law to the arts to foreign language. During our 2018 winter session, we had nearly 400 individual students who attended over 1,000 class sessions. I would like to introduce Joyce Whitaker, who has been affiliated with Learning and Retirement since its beginning and has been a member of our board for 18 years. For the last 2 years, our board has donated $2,000 in scholarships to COD, and LIR individuals made additional donations. I'm proud to announce that LIR is again donating $2,000 this year. We want to honor the memories of 4 of our prominent instructors who passed away this past year. Our former president, Steve Manning, led LIR for many years through a period of stress and growth. Steve founded a high-tech company that later was valued at $2 billion. Ken Zebarth was a Superior Court judge, a former mayor, and a colleague of Attorney General Ed Meese. Arnold Meltzner founded and chaired for many years the prestigious Public Policy Department at Cal Berkeley, but his passion was to lead a short stories class at LIR. George Palmer was a London-trained economist who edited several major financial publications. These impressive LIR pioneers set the tone for our current board. Our faculty, who volunteer year after year, is most impressive. 45% have doctorates, either PhD, JD, or MD. 24% have master's degrees, and the rest have achieved much success in business. Our community can be extremely proud of both COD and Learning and Retirement, and we're pleased to do our part to further the education of our Valley senior population. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry Blatt is speaking next.
Good morning. I'm Jerry Blatt, President of Learning and Retirement, a nonprofit that has been offering enrichment classes locally for seniors for over 22 years. LIR, Learning and Retirement, is an all-volunteer organization. None of our instructors are paid. That includes board members of staff. Nobody's paid. We're now in the 5th year of our mutually beneficial relationship with COD. For the first 2 years, we were here, and now we share the PACE classrooms at the mall. We have a wonderful relationship with Pam Hunter as well as Veronica Izuherta and Anessa Ramirez. 7 years ago, we offered a dozen classes, but in this winter session, we offered a record 30 different classes. The cost is $60 per semester. For those who take full advantage, it works out to about $1.50 a session, the same price as a hot dog and Pepsi at Costco. No other educational program offers so much for so little. Our courses include American, Russian, and local history, cinema, Spanish, French, opera, entertainment classics, literature, writing, photography, law, science, medicine, economics, current events discussion, and more. Our board works hard to control expenses, website, insurance, and annual thank you teacher lunch, but most of our income comes here to COD, about $30,000 annually. Both of our organizations recognize the obligation to meet the needs of our retired senior citizens, and we at LIR are proud that our very successful senior-focused learning program reflects well upon you of COD, and we look forward to growing and enhancing that relationship. We're in the process of creating a more robust marketing relationship. Pam Hunter and I have discussed some ideas that could benefit both COD and LIR without spending any money. We're anxious to share our success and celebrate our relationship with COD. As Mary mentioned, for the last 2 years, our board donated $2,000 in scholarships to COD, and LIR individuals donated even more. I'm proud to announce that LIR is again donating $2,000 this year, $1,000 to the President's Fund and $1,000 in general scholarships. The checks are not in the mail. I've got them right here. We value our win-win partnership. Please visit our website, lirpalmdesert.com, to learn more about learning in retirement. Thank you. Can I deliver these checks to you?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Picture, picture, picture,
Picture.
picture, picture. Picture. Picture, thank you,
Here
picture.
we go.
Why don't you go?
A check picture.
Check picture.
Just stick it right there.
Does that count as part of our 3 minutes?
The board has the discretion to expand that 3 minutes. I want to be in this, yes, I really
Yes.
appreciate it. Lifelong learning is very important.
Learning, right, it's called learning in retirement.
Right, but I say though, learning, lifelong learning, the act of learning all your life is very important.
Makes
Yeah.
happy people.
Makes happy people.
Right.
You guys ready?
Oh, you're more closer?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, and cheese,
Jeez.
and COD.
COD.
Cheese. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Can I get a handshake? Very thoughtful. We thank you so much. Board meeting agenda pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2B2, the board may take action on items of business not appearing on the posted agenda upon a determination of a 2/3 vote of the board, or if less than 2/3 of the members are present, a unanimous vote of those present. That there is a need to take immediate action, and that the need for action came to the attention of the local agency subsequent to the agenda being posted as specified. Has any such item come before us? Okay, thank you. So are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the agenda of April the 20th, 2018?
Yes, there's one on our board comments.
Yes?
So, under, just put down Palm Desert State of the City as well as Cathedral City State of the City event. If we could just add that to.
I don't either, I'm not
When we
following.
give board, as I said, board reports, I just want to add Cathedral City State.
Oh, you're in minutes.
No, I'm on Oh, on our board minutes, I wanted, to okay.
On your
so-
board comments.
Yes,
Hang on.
okay.
Keep that thought. We'll
Okay.
need it later. Are there any other additions, corrections, or deletions to this agenda? Hearing none, the agenda stands confirmed as presented, and I'll help you remember to do that, Mary Jane.
Yes, please.
At this time, the board will now recess to closed session from 9:35, see how that's working for us, to 10:15. If the board will reconvene to open session at 10:30 a.m. I'd like to reconvene our board meeting. We're back from closed session. There was no reportable action taken in closed session to report out. So we now return to public updates. President Kinnaman?
Yes, thank you. I think we've got a PowerPoint we're going to put up or something. Here we go. All right, over the last several years, we've been working hard to negotiate the purchase of the Palm Springs Mall that would avoid a long, costly legal battle and that could bring us closer to the permanent campus we know makes all the sense in the world. The common sense idea has been to connect with adjacent Palm Springs High School and local businesses in the community and to partner on hospitality management, film and digital media studies, energy, and health and wellness programs. This also creates a pipeline for our students so that they can enter into jobs and careers. And as we all know, this location's a centralized location closer to where the students live and work, where there's public transit, and we have thousands of young people coming into the area. Currently, COD enrollment is over 15,000 students, and with the Palm Springs campus handling at least 3,000 full-time students, the campus will also be a year-round economic boost to the city and its new downtown. This campus will not be like any other campus. Today, what began as a dream is becoming a reality that will support our students for years to come. The acquisition was only possible because of the visionary leadership, hard work, and commitment of many, many friends of COD, including the Board of Trustees. And we are fortunate to have the support of our civic, education, and industry partners. Our faculty, staff, alumni, donors, friends, and supporters have been with us every step of the way on this project. And as we celebrate acquiring this property, we are also preparing for the hard work of building the new campus. I refer to the hard work ahead because closing escrow is just the beginning. Significant assessment, planning, and construction lie ahead of us. We know there is a lot to do, but I also know that we are up to the challenge and the opportunities that lie ahead. And I would like to thank everybody. I thank you for your vision, your commitment, your leadership, and your confidence in us to make it happen, especially in this, our 60th anniversary. And of course, today, we're all COD proud to have this accomplishment behind us. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Dr. Kinman, you want to introduce proclamations?
I do,
Okay.
yes. Okay, at this time, for reading of proclamations, our Director of Student Life, Carlos Maldonado, will now introduce the student who will read the proclamation for Day of Silence.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Kinnaman, Executive Cabinet, and esteemed guests. It is my honor today to introduce this morning's reader of the Desert Community College's Proclamation Day of Silence. Reading the proclamation for us today is Christina Histia Vroni Ruggles. She is a vice president of the Gay Straight Alliance, a student club focused on being a safe space for queer students and a meeting and bonding place between all queer and straight students. She is a political science major, a transgender woman, a lesbian, and incredibly proud and honored to be here today. Behind her, you will notice two students with tape over their mouths, Maria Cuautle and Jessica Gomez. Both are officers in the Gay Straight Alliance and stand in silence and solidarity for the people that could not speak or stand for themselves because of bullying, intimidation, abandonment, and isolation. Please help me welcome them to the dais to read the Day of Silence proclamation for your consideration.
Once again, I want to reiterate how honored I am to be here today. So, proclamation for the Day of Silence, April 27th, 2018. Whereas, the Day of Silence was begun in 1996 by students at the University of Virginia, and whereas, almost 100 colleges and universities participated in the 1997 observation of the Day of Silence, and whereas, under the auspices of the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network, GLSEN, the Day of Silence has grown to a nationwide observance with thousands of individuals and campuses participating, and whereas participants in the National Day of Silence take some form of vow of silence to bring attention to the name-calling, bullying, and harassment, in effect, the silencing experienced by the LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer students and their allies. Whereas, the Day of Silence is a nationwide day of respect for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer persons whose voices have been silenced either through fear, intimidation, or death. Whereas, the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District is fully committed institutionally to fostering diversity and tolerance in the community. And whereas, this commitment to diversity and tolerance leads to the belief that no voice in our community should be silenced. And whereas, the College of the Desert Community has many students, professors, and other staff who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or queer. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District that April 27, 2018 be designated as a Day of Silence on the College of the Desert campus.
Thank you.
At this time, Director Maldonado will introduce the student who will read the proclamation for Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Good morning again. On behalf of Cody McCabe, who is away on recruitment travel, and the amazing team of our international education program, it is my honor today to introduce the next reader for the Desert Community College District's Proclamation for Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Enacted in 1991, this is a joint resolution between the United States Senate and the House of Representatives to commemorate and celebrate Asians and Pacific Islanders in the United States. Now I would like to introduce and invite Mr. Ao Shibayama, an outstanding international student from Kyoto, Japan, to the dais to read the Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month proclamation for your consideration.
Hello, thank you for having me today. Proclamation, Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month, May 2018. Whereas, in May 1990, former President George Bush declared the month of May as Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And in May 1991, Governor Pete Wilson also proclaimed this month as Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month in California, the Golden State. And whereas The Desert Community College District employs an increasing number of personnel of Asian Pacific ancestry, and there is an ever-increasing number of students served by the Desert Community College District who are of this heritage. And whereas the history of the United States encompasses the unique culture and rich legacy passed down from the ancestry of the Asian and Pacific Islanders, and whereas the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District recognizes the many contributions and accomplishments of the Asian and Pacific Islanders for their tenacity in pursuing the highest standards and ideals attainable. And whereas the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District encourages illumination of the rich cultural heritage and ethnic diversity within the greater Coachella Valley as part of the district's commitment to cultural awareness programs. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District hereby declares May as Asian Pacific American Heritage Month in the Desert Community College District, in appreciation of the achievement and contribution made by Asian Pacific Islanders to the educational programs of the Desert Community College District. The Board of Trustees encourages all of the faculty, staff, and students to promote and join in the observances throughout the Desert Community College District, community, city, state, and nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, I would like to ask Vice President Pamela Ralston if she would introduce the professor who will read the proclamation for Day of the Professor.
Thank you very much. Is this on? Yeah. Thank you very much. It's my honor to introduce to you today Dr. Courtney Dowsett, Associate Professor and Chair of Kinesiology, who has the great honor of serving as our Faculty Member of the Year for 2017-2018. Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you, Dr. Ralston. Proclamation Day of the Professor, May 9th, 2018. Whereas the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees has the utmost respect and admiration for the district's professors, individuals who have dedicated their lives and talents to the education of our students, California's most precious and important resource. And whereas the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees recognizes the valuable contributions of our professors' continued commitment to provide an excellent education for all students. And whereas the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees recognizes that the quality of all students' educational experiences has improved significantly because of the high quality of their professors. Whereas professors have a vital role in realizing the vision for California public education and an essential role in contributing to the academic and professional life of the state. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees expresses their grateful appreciation to all professors for their contributions to the education of students and has designated the day of May 9th, 2018 as Day of Professor in the Desert Community College District. Thank you.
At this time, Sarah Fry, Associate Professor of Nursing, will now introduce the student who will read the proclamation for National Nurses Week.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
The nursing department is happy to have Jennifer Gary read today's proclamation in honor of Nurses Week. Jennifer is one of our outstanding students, and we often rely on her to represent our program. She serves as our Student Nurse Association president. She volunteers her time with local youth population. She does outreach internationally, and she's recently been nominated for the Student Nurse Excellent Award, which will be presented to her at the Rancho Mirage Chamber of Commerce Desert Nurses Luncheon in May.
Thank you, Ms. Fry. Proclamation for Nurses Week, National Nurses Week, May 6th through 12th, 2018. Whereas Florence Nightingale was the founder of nursing as a modern profession, and whereas registered nursing is the largest healthcare profession continually working to improve healthcare. And whereas nurses provide many types of healthcare services, including bedside nursing in hospitals and long-term care facilities and research institutions. And whereas state legislatures, Congress, and individual groups within the nursing profession constantly seek ways to provide care for the expanding healthcare needs of American society. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District that May 6th through 12th, 2018, be designated as National Nurses Week to honor the dedication, commitment, and tireless efforts of the nation's nurses. Thank you.
Raquel Crisp works in our financial aid department as one of our financial aid specialists. She has a rewarding history with College of the Desert. She began as a student in 2016, where she later became a student worker. In 2017, she was offered a substitute position and then finally a classified employee. Please join me in welcoming her. She will now read the proclamation for Classified School Employee Week.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. Proclamation Classified School Employees Week, May 21st to the 27th, 2018. Whereas classified professionals provide valuable services to the staff and students of College of the Desert, and whereas classified professionals contribute to the establishment and promotion of a positive instructional environment, and whereas classified professionals employed by the College of the Desert strive for excellence in all areas relative to the educational community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees hereby recognizes and wishes to honor the contributions of the classified professionals to quality education in the state of California and the Desert Community College District, and declares the week of May 21st through the 27th, 2018 as Classified School Employees Week at College of the Desert.
Thank you for the presentation of those proclamations. They were so well done, and it gave us a chance to honor very important groups in our college community. So thank you for your time and for sharing that with us. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Persons who wish to speak to the board at any item may do so at this time. There's a time limit of 3 minutes per person and 15 minutes per topic unless further time is granted by the board. Your comments will be timed and you'll be asked to stop speaking when the timer sounds. Please understand that the board welcomes your comments but are unable to respond. Julia, has anyone signed to speak at this time? Okay, thank you. For those that are wondering why we have two public comment sections, we're trying to feel to see which is more convenient for persons to come and speak to us. So we're still testing it out, and we hate to take away someone's opportunity without there being due notice. So so for a while, we're going to have these dual spots. Next item is minutes. Let me see, am I right? No, introduction of staff. I missed introduction of staff. Dr. Kinnaman?
Thank you, Madam
Cutting you
Chair.
out.
First, I'd like to introduce Aries Jaramillo, Outreach Specialist in EDGE. Aries is a graduate of COD with an AA degree in political science in 2011. She was a student in the TRIO ACES program and served as the ASCOD president and student trustee. She's very excited and humbled for the opportunity to join the EDGE program. She credits the resources and access made available to her at COD with propelling her to become the first in her family to earn a college degree and reaching her goal of transferring to UC Berkeley. Stay with us, okay? All right. Leslie Martinez, EOPS and care technician. Leslie is a former Upward Bound student at COD. She graduated from UC Riverside in 2017 with a BA in theater and sociology. Prior to working at COD, Leslie worked as a behavioral therapist. She is an advocate for the performing arts and is passionate about helping students reach their educational goals. She is proud to be a part of the EOPS and CARE program. Terry Wilson, Human Resource Specialist. Terry joined COD after serving as the recruitment specialist at Coachella Valley Unified School District. She holds an MA in Human Resource Management from Hawaii Pacific University, a BA in General Studies from the University of Dayton, and an AA from Scottsdale Community College. She enjoys spending time with her family, hiking, and watching sports. Terry is excited to be part of the COD family and is looking forward to working with the students, faculty, and staff. And Eric Duran, custodian. Eric is a lifetime resident of Coachella Valley. He started his career as a professional custodian in 2006 with the Desert Sand School District. After working there for 10 years, he started his own cleaning business. Eric began working at COD in 2016 as a substitute custodian. He is married, has 2 children, ages 18 and 20. So I want to welcome all of you. And do you want to get pictures with them and the board? I'd like that.
Good to have Aries back.
Isn't it nice?
Well, you've been my Facebook friend for some time, but. Slide over. Welcome home, Aries.
We all in?
This is where, here we go.
Oh, this one's
Was that what, yeah?
Madam Chair,
Yes,
may I take a liberty?
certainly.
Depends on what it is, right?
Pretty much.
Can I back up the public update?
Absolutely.
All right. At this time, I would like to introduce Angel Miraz, who's going to introduce a student.
Excellent.
I changed my mind. That's the one.
Yeah, we backed up. We just said that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us today. We wanted to come to the board meeting this morning to honor one of our student athletes. As part of the California Community Colleges Athletic Association, our counselors get to nominate a student who is honored for their achievement in something special, overcoming barriers, overcoming obstacles, and also being outstanding students. I had the honor of being able to nominate Miranda, and she was selected by our professional organization as the recipient of a $500 scholarship. She got to join us in Northern California for our conference, where she was acknowledged in front of the entire athletic directors and counselors at our spring conference. And so if it's okay with you, I'm going to read the bio that they read about her. And this is Miranda here sitting next to me. The number 2 has been a significant number in the life of Miranda Palmer. Her 2 parents welcomed Miranda and her twin brother into the world as they grew up in the city of 29 Palms, located in Southern California. A few years later, her parents increased the Palmer family by 2 again, as another set of twins were born into the growing family. With 2 sets of twins in the household, life was hectic. Her father enlisted in the Marines and was deployed twice, his first deployment to Iraq and second equally as long to Afghanistan. The long tours took a toll on the family. Her parents parted ways and her mother moved out of state. Miranda was thrust into the role of being mother of the household as her father was given the responsibility of caring for his 4 children. Miranda's natural leadership, instincts, and skills immediately became apparent when she embraced the new role. She made sure that her siblings were taken care of every day. She fed, bathed, and cleaned their clothes. Miranda also made certain that everyone arrived at school on time, took them to doctor's appointments, sporting events, practices, and was part of all of the daily events of their lives. It should be noted that Miranda did all of this while attending high school herself. Once again, the number 2 was a significant part of her life as she took on 2 roles, one as a high school student and the other as a responsible parent for her siblings. The second chapter of her life involved her decision to enroll here at College of the Desert, located 90 miles from her house. College of the Desert had a women's soccer program, a sport which she had an immense passion for. Miranda decided to embark on the long road trip twice a day. First began at 3:30 a.m. so that she would be ready for her 5:30 a.m. practice, and then classes as she fulfilled the prerequisites for a chemistry major. The second was a long trip back to 29 Palms so that she can continue to take care of her siblings. Miranda's father made some unfortunate decisions and lost some of the family's money. Her car was unreliable and she was having trouble making the commute to College of the Desert. In an immediate decision, Miranda decided to drop all of her courses and no longer continue in our soccer program. When our staff got word of that, we quickly went into action and came up with some solutions for Miranda. We found a place for her to stay here with one of her fellow soccer teammates. We were able to get her reinstated in all of her classes so that she continue with the soccer season and also complete the semester here at College of the Desert. For all of her hard work and dedication, commitment to her academics, and devotion to her family, she was ranked one of the top 5 goalies in the state for saves and is hoping to continue her studies at UC Merced. We are so proud of Miranda and all of her accomplishments here, and we just wanted to acknowledge her today at the board meeting. And this is for Miranda on behalf.
I always wondered how these worked. It was a rough semester, but to be honest, like, College of the Desert is always going to remain in my heart with the staff, not just the athletic department, but like the staff in all my classes. I took random classes because, you know, I had to, and like I enjoyed it. And some of them I didn't think like were part of my major, but I discovered I really like psychology. I love the psychology department. I spent time in the study hall, and like every resource was available all the time, and I really enjoyed that. So thank you.
Thank you,
Miranda, we're very proud of you. You are certainly a great spokesperson for our college. I hope that we've served you well, and you're a beacon of student success. You'll have a very successful life. We're very proud of you. Definitely worth backing up for.
Thank you.
Moving back to the agenda, item 9 is minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the regular, did I miss something? The regular minutes of March the 16th, 2018, after Julia quits laughing.
If I may, that was so beautiful. This is what we're all about, the students. So if we could just add the Cathedral City, State of the City, that's all, Madam Chair. For the record.
And that's to your report? Okay, thank you. If there are no further corrections to the minutes, they stand approved. Next item is reports. First report's ASCOD. We have an ASCOD representative today, or someone in lieu of? No, it's okay. Yes?
Yeah, I could give a, sadly the president wasn't able to attend, but
That's fine.
I will definitely give a brief update of what we're trying to accomplish at in ASCON. So ASCON, we've definitely been working on the smoking policy, and we moved a long way on that, and it's in the executive cabinet, if I'm correct. And so we're happy to keep moving forward with that, and hopefully you'll be seeing it as soon as possible, hopefully. Other than that, we have been working on elections coming up, and definitely we're trying to get the next student trustee elected for the next academic year. So that's exciting, and also the rest of ASCON. And we're also trying to see how we could get the word out to as many students to try to hopefully get more student input votes and to see that students are able to run for these positions. Because I know there's a lot of talent out there, just like Miranda's, and we want to capture those talents to represent the school. Let's see, other than that, we've been working on, let me see, I'm trying to think of everything we'll be working. It's a lot, but a lot of things are mostly the smoking policy. We're glad to keep that moving forward. And other than that, I think that's all I'm covered. So.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
impromptu report. Next report is CSEA. Hi, Lily.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm Lily Casas. I'm an outreach specialist here at College of the Desert for the EDGE and Pledge program. And I'm also the CSEA chapter first vice president, so I'll be doing the report for you today. So first of all, CSEA would like to congratulate the board and everyone involved in the purchase of the Palm Springs Mall. We're all very excited to see the West Valley campus come to life. There are a lot of staff members that I know would be very interested in the new classified positions that will surely be opening up and maybe even transferring over there from here or other campuses if maybe that's closer to home. CSEA is also glad to see that the district's initial proposal is up for approval today. We have been very eager to begin negotiating our successor contract. Our first negotiation date is this coming Tuesday, April 24th, and we do have a few more dates scheduled in May. We are expecting to have a productive negotiation sessions. We do have a total of 17 articles open, so we are looking forward to a collaborative process with the district. We also have been waiting for the reclassification process to start. Our members submitted 5 requests, and we are quickly approaching the June 1st due date for these recommendations as per our collective bargaining agreement. As of today, the committee has yet to meet, and being part of the committee last year, I know that it's a very lengthy process, so we are concerned that there will not be enough time to complete the entire process by July 1st. In state CSEA news, Mary Lisi, who is our campus operator and also a business services technician, traveled to Sacramento over the past weekend because she is the area representative for the Political Action for Classified Employees Committee for CSEA. She traveled to Sacramento to lobby, and myself, as the legislative, on the legislative committee, I'm the community college representative. I also got to join her at the state capitol, talking to our representatives about some issues that affect classified staff, especially the state budget and the proposed online community college as well. Finally, I would just like to thank the board for your leadership and for showing your appreciation for classified staff by proclaiming Classified Employees Week. We are looking forward to celebrating this week with a barbecue, and I hope you guys got your invitations, right? So we are looking forward to seeing you there. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next report's CODA. I see David back there.
First of all, I'm recovering from a cold, so I hope you'll excuse my raspy voice and if I need to take a sip of water. So, good morning. We have an awful lot to be proud of. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to be reading my report today. 2 things have happened since I submitted it that I want to talk about instead, so I'm going to be speaking off script. And first of all, as we have heard again today from Dr. Kinnaman, we have so much to be proud of and thankful for at this district. The list of accomplishments, of awards and recognitions and appreciations that we've had over the years are more than I can list off in 5 minutes. So congratulations to everyone, and as we have said before so many times, the credit goes to everyone. However, there is one group that I think does not get enough credit, and that group is our administration. The administrators at this college, and I know most of them, if not all of them, are intelligent, they're knowledgeable, they're hardworking, and they are truly dedicated to their positions. And I mean that sincerely. All of our accomplishments would not have happened without leadership. Yes, everybody worked together to get it done, but if you don't have somebody leading that process, guiding it, making sure it happens, those accomplishments wouldn't be here. So I think our administration deserves a great deal of credit that they don't get enough of. Can you tell there's a but coming? If I were an auditor, there is one area in which I would give this administration a failing grade, and that area is in contract negotiations with the 3 bargaining units in this district. And the reason I say that is not because they're not giving us everything we want. That's not what negotiation is, and I'm not referring to that. The reason I say that is because of the inability to get negotiations conducted in a timely manner. I have reported to you many times about delays that have happened in our negotiation process. And here today, you're being asked to ratify a contract, which I hope you will, in late April for a contract that should have started last July. And most of the reasons for those delays was on the part of this administration. Now, why am I bringing this up? Why am I talking about this? I've been president of CODA for 7 years now, and obviously I enjoy it or I wouldn't be doing it. But there's one part of that position that I truly hate, and it happened again this week. An adjunct contacted me and said that they looked at the published fall class schedule and their name wasn't on it. So that adjunct sent an email to their dean and said, was this a mistake? The dean did not reply to that email, but the next day in the US mail, that adjunct got a form letter saying your services are no longer needed. That adjunct has taught here for 30 years. And after 30 years, they get a form letter saying, don't bother, we don't need you anymore. Now, I wish I could say that was an isolated incident, but it isn't. You have heard adjuncts come before you in person and tell you similar stories. They get a form letter and the dean refuses to talk to them. I wish I could say that was one bad apple in the barrel, but it's not. This is happening in 3 different schools with 3 different academic deans who will not even talk to adjuncts who have served this school for 30 years. I think we should all be embarrassed by that. Now, I'm telling you this because in just a little over 2 months, the next academic year will start, and we haven't even begun negotiations of reopeners. And the reason why we haven't is because it's all based on a work group that was formed to define parity, a term that seems so elusive to the district. And until that is resolved, we cannot renegotiate the main obstacles that prevented us from resolving this contract in the first place. And yet again, this is being delayed by the administration, and that was the subject of my written report to you in which I specify what those delays are, and I trust you will read that to see just what the problem is here. So what I'm asking of you is please hold this administration accountable for conducting timely negotiations. Thank you. I didn't even need water.
Thank you. No, you didn't need your water. Yeah. College of the Desert Faculty Association. See Denise.
So, good morning, Madam Chair. I don't think I will, but I have a personal request, and I've written a poem that's important to me to share with the board, and I may go a minute over. It's not a long poem. So, good morning, everyone. Later this morning, the Faculty Association sunshines 3 articles for negotiation as part of the traditional and legal process. We look forward to a productive, well-organized bargaining cycle. And honestly, I couldn't agree more with all the comments David made. We also expect the district to be timely in identifying bargaining dates and providing requested materials. We are all very familiar with the bargaining cycle, and this is for our mutually agreed upon collective bargaining agreement. When we each respect our roles and our time, things can go quite smoothly and efficiently. As the college continues to expand, all of us are taking on many important responsibilities, not the least of which is our contract. I have requested 3 times hard copies of the contract that we already ratified, and I need those hard copies by the end of the semester. The PERB hearing that was scheduled between CODFA and the district has now been postponed twice. The Faculty Association extended time to the district to respond to a level 2 grievance on a non-renewal of faculty. So we're doing the best that we can to accommodate the district, but we certainly expect things to be done in a timely manner. Yesterday was an interesting day here at College of the Desert. I'm one of 3 faculty on a club called Active Minds. Perhaps if you were on campus in the amphitheater, you saw 1,000 backpacks as a part of a very powerful exhibit that travels called Send Silence Packing. Our community partners were also here in order to bring education and awareness to suicide prevention. 1,000 college students commit suicide annually. This brings me to a very critical point. As we grow, we absolutely must add staff to our health services and our mental health resources. It is absolutely critical. On a personal note, today is CTA National Day of Action Against Gun Violence in Schools. This is happening across the entire state of California as we speak. Students are participating. And as such, I would like to share with you what I have come to believe after 40 years as an educator. I have taught in every region of the United States. I have taught in every school the United States of America offers, from hospital schools to national schools of excellence to inner city schools, and I have taught overseas. I share with you what I've come to believe. Why teachers don't carry guns. What I carry is tradition. Tradition from the one-room schoolhouse to the virtual schools of today. We have been entrusted to lead by example. Teachers educate, first responders rescue, firefighters extinguish fires, and nurses and doctors diminish pain. We don't carry guns. What we carry is commitment to our community. Our classroom is the community. From across the street, we hear you proudly say, "That's my teacher." And from across the world, in times of peace and war, we read your messages. When you introduce us to your children, we smile. We will teach them too. We see each other in hospitals, stores, and libraries of our communities. We know our community is only as safe as its most vulnerable members. And the fabric of a safe community is woven by us together at fundraisers, field trips, and funerals, taking selfies, being silly, crying at our losses, and cheering at our victories. We see each other without bolts, locks, chains, walls, or barricades. What we carry is education, to learn what is hidden and to speak the unspoken. In whose community will schools resemble prisons? How do taxpayers want their dollars spent? And why do we believe that guns make us safer than any other democracy? Who benefits from the manufacture and sale of semi-automatic guns? What we carry is responsibility to and for the next generation. We have dedicated decades to building a better future, one student at a time. And what I carry is hope in the youth and the movement that they create. Learn from history, seek solutions, act with knowledge, and be the change.
That's right.
Thank you, Denise. Next is Academic Senate. Is someone here to speak for the Academic Senate? Okay. College of the Desert Foundation.
Good morning, President Kitteman, trustees, and distinguished cabinet members. On behalf of the College of the Desert Foundation, we'd like to just share our enthusiasm and congratulate you on the purchase of the property that will be the permanent home of COD in Palm Springs. And just wanted to tell you we look forward to continuing to partner with the college to support the development of that campus and what it'll mean to the residents in our region and certainly to the students that it will serve. I'd also like to congratulate Trustee Wilson, who recently, she serves as president of the Jocelyn Center, and she presided over a wonderful gala and fashion show that will result in resources to serve the senior citizens in our community. I had the pleasure of attending, and it was a wonderful event. Since we met last, the College of the Desert Foundation had its annual gala. And COD Foundation this year put a lot of emphasis on trying to help celebrate the college's 60th anniversary. And so I have a little special video update about the Stepping Out event this year and our efforts to help celebrate the college's 60th anniversary.
Nice.
We look forward to continuing to partner with the college over the next 60 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we go on to the governing board reports, I would like to mention that the Academic Senate did send a written report. So those that are interested, that are in our college community and watching this meeting may want to refer to the attached notes from the minutes when they're posted. Governing board, student trustee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this one, it feels like a long time since we had a meeting, so I'm trying to rethink of everything that I did. So last month, there was 3 weeks of every Friday where there was a high school visit day. So different high school would come out to COD, and I was one of the student members that gave tours during those days. So it was really exciting to see students interested in the school and mostly interested in their interested majors. So it was really beneficial. Also, I was able to see some old friends from high school to see them. It's weird that I see them now, but it's nice to see them, tell them about how great COD is. I also went out to Stepping Out for COD, and it was great. I love meeting everybody in the foundation, everybody who gives, and actually thanking them for all their contributions, and seeing that we raised over $700,000 is amazing, and I think it's a great accomplishment. And we're forever, I think the students are forever thankful for that. There was also a math day that happened last week, I believe, or maybe 2 weeks ago, which was also interesting, where students were able to go to Mesa Center, and they were able to just see what we have to offer in math day, the different types of majors that we have, and it was really interesting. I was also able to go to the Palm Springs announcement. Thank you, Dr. Kidman, for the invitation. I was very honored to go, and the wind was blowing, so my hair kind of looked all bad, but either way. But either way, it was very great to see that that we are getting these access points in different parts of Coachella Valley, and that we are able to serve the students and make not just more opportunities, but be able to accommodate to students' needs. And I think that's very important, and it makes definitely in the long run is going to make our community successful. That also, I'm glad to announce that there will be a code in the summer where we will be teaching high schooler and middle schoolers how to program, which is, I think, is one of the most essential things that kids nowadays or children nowadays should know. A little bit of programming, and I think that now, since we live in the age of technology, that we should definitely accommodate and learn these things that we should learn. I also was able to see the backpacks in the amphitheater, and it was very enlightening. I saw a lot of students go up to the backpacks, read them, and they were very interested. And it's amazing to see all that and put together. I remember walking in the morning, seeing how all these students, even though it feels like it's silent, they're not standing alone. So they always have someone there with them, and we just hope that we're more aware of the students who are having hardships, who need that help. And I think that's very beneficial and essential to everybody. So thank you. That's all I have for my report.
Thank you,
very much.
Arturo. Very eloquently put. Trustee Wilson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I'd like to recognize and thank again David Bayshore and Denise Diamond for your remarks. Thank you so much. It's difficult being a trustee, but I do take your comments and your feelings to heart. Thank you. We all wear many hats, and I put on my volunteer hat to help out with the 4-day March book sale for the COD Friends of the Library. Dr. Kinnaman even came out with his mom and took advantage of the great prices. We do have another book sale coming out during the first weekend in May. I don't see Marge Dodge here, but she would be proud that I'm making this little announcement. It's coming up in May, so we hope that you will all come out. And Trustee Stefan is a great customer of ours. Want to thank the folks at the Marks Art Center for their work with the Noe Montez Gallery reception in mid-March. It was a great turnout and a beautiful exhibit. Congratulations to the foundation for the excellent work with the Stepping Out for COD event. The pre-theater event at Bighorn was, it was a great venue. Really enjoyed it, well organized. The entertainment provided by our music students, really, really good. And of course, Lucy Arnaz, you showed it up here. She did a fabulous job as the entertainer. And what a great night for the foundation and for the college. Put on a little bit of different hat and attended the first scholarship fundraising dinner honoring my late friend John Benoit. It was sponsored by Cal State San Bernardino Palm Desert and held at the new Hotel Paseo in Palm Desert. It was a great start for this new student scholarship that will bear John and Cheryl's name. Congratulations to Patty Newman, who was honored for her work with Digicom at Digicom's luncheon on April 7th. I attended that with other COD folks, and COD is proud to be a partner with Digicom, and we look forward to working with them in the future. Congratulations to the Academic Angels for another fabulous spring luncheon. This year was at La Vella Reese in Palm Springs. It was a great turnout. My colleague, Trustee Sanchez Fulton, was also in attendance. And the entertainment was just excellent. It was really wonderful. So thank you, Dr. Mosser. You did a great job, and to the foundation staff for their hard work in preparing for that event.
And to Dr. Neary, who was one of our wonderful.
That's right. That's right. Thank
And
you.
also our professor, Joanna, with her beautiful opera. Just want to say how we have such talent at the College of the Desert.
Okay, Michael, add 10 more seconds on there. Okay. And we are all excited to finally see purchase of the Palm Springs Mall become a reality. I want to thank Dr. Kinnaman and our legal team for their hard work over the past several years, and to my fellow trustees. We had to make the difficult decisions on which way to go with this project and how much and et cetera. So now we can finally breathe and move forward with excitement to a new future with a new campus to meet the needs here in the Coachella Valley. I don't see Lily here. I guess she left already. I'm not going to be able to attend the CSEA luncheon. I've attended it ever since I was appointed and then elected. But my own daughter is graduating this year from San Francisco State, so I'm headed up that way to attend her graduation. And I'm also going to be running in the San Francisco's Beta Breakers race this year. This is my 4th year of running in that race, and this year my daughter has challenged me to run the 9 miles, so I'm going to be doing that, and we'll limp back for the May board meeting. Finally, this is the 19th anniversary of the Columbine shooting. So tragic that we have to have this terrible anniversary, but there does remain hope that this horrific day is being used for change and to address gun violence. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Aurora? Trustee Sanchez?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Something that I'm want to kind of talk about is the campus of Palm Springs. This is the most beautiful thing. The hard work that our fellow board members, our staff, the administration, the president, we put it together. And everyone involved, all our community partners, this was a lot of hard work. I just want to let everyone in our community, I want to thank all our community partners that made it possible, because this is a new era for the Coachella Valley. And because of all your hard work, all of us, we all did it. So I just want to give another round of applause for our Palm Springs campus. This was so long coming. That Stepping Out Foundation event was, I just want to say a note about that. I really want to thank the students. All the student government students that were there, they took time to come from work, from school, to come and volunteer. So I just kind of want to give to the Ask God team, all of you guys there, and helping us and volunteer your time there that evening. So a shout out to all the Ask God people there. So attended something really special. Where College of the Desert is about strategic partners. And the organization that I attended was Desert Best Friends Closet. What is that? They provide interview clothes for students. She's come out here to the College of the Desert and talk about interviewing skills. 2 of our students and many other of our students go there, and they were models at this particular luncheon, and they talked briefly about their background. So I really want to give a shout out to that organization that provides clothes. A lot of people don't understand that clothes is expensive when you go out and interview. So this organization, just for everyone, it's called Desert Best Friends Closet, and it's an awesome organization, and I'd like for us to work even more closer on that, how to present yourself on interview, skills, etc. So I thought that was a very wonderful event. Attended something that was very beautiful along with the COD Foundation, Galen at the museum, and I just want to give a shout out to our alumni. Paulina Larson was the co-host, and now I heard an academic angel. So we want to partnering with the community and having our alumni here of the Coachella is the fabric of COD. So that was a wonderful event. As an active member of the American Association of University Women, it was a wonderful Sunday event with them, but in particular, we lost our president. So this was something that we do a lot of in STEM training and TREC. I'm very involved. I wear many hats too out in the community, but the American Association of University Women is a wonderful, and I know we have a lot of our staff from COD that are also members of that. So it was a great luncheon on Sunday. This week, attended also the Academic Angels Spring Bloom, and that was wonderful to see our partners and we have a lot of members, I heard, so that was great that we're getting more and more ladies involved to help our students achieve their dream. Attended the Riverside Latino Network Breakfast. It was a very wonderful event because they're hearing about the Coachella Valley out in Riverside County, so that was wonderful to come out there and speak about what we're doing here at the College of the Desert. And attended, may I have just, okay. Our job fair, you guys. What an awesome, you're going to school, but you want to get a job. That's what it's about. So our job fair was awesome. I really want to thank the deans, the staff, the student volunteers. The student volunteers that came out to help out, sign in the employers. And I want to thank, there's so many employers, so I would love to hear a little bit about, just maybe later on, how many employers are participated, but a shout out to every single one of the businesses in the Coachella Valley, Renova. I don't want to mention not mention another company, but just all those that participated, I want to thank. And it would not have been possible if you didn't participate. And tell the students about possible, I know time's up, but it's so important that they get jobs right after school. One more item, just want to mention, I'll leave that for the follow-up. But anyway, thank you so much, and that ends my report. It's been very busy. We'll talk about that later. Thanks.
Trustee Yonk?
I think it was over 10 years ago, and I'm thinking maybe 12 years ago, former President Patton and former Palm Springs Mayor Oden asked me to serve on a committee. It was a strange committee, but its purpose was to begin to locate a site for College of the Desert in the West Valley. It's hard to believe that was 10 to 12 years ago. And I remember those meetings well because another member of that committee was Jeannie Hild. And she grew to be a great friend, and the many stories she told me about each possible site would fill an afternoon of delightful stories. She's a great person. So we need to keep her informed about what's happening. She would still be very interested. And so when Dr. Kinnaman said 4 years, I was thinking, no, it's been,
Been a very
it's
long-
been a little longer than
I said
that.
I said a few days. It's only
What?
been a few- I said it's only been a few days.
Yeah. It's been a little longer, but in the realm of the progress of educational institutions, 10 to 12 years is about average, I guess. With other people here, I was a part of Digicon this past month, and I'd like to take a few minutes of academic perspective on that event. I was really impressed with the opportunities that gives to public school teachers and students in terms of creativity, motivation, composition, critical thinking skills, interpersonal communication skills, all the wonderful skills that project can provide for students and public school teachers. So I really look forward to the time when we have more of our faculty involved in that project, because that would take it further. And a personal note, all of our proclamations today were particularly meaningful to me. So I want to thank the students, Day of Silence, Asia Pacific Island, and particularly Day of Professor in Nursing, particularly classified employees, and Denise's comments about suicide prevention and mental health services. These were all important issues to me, and I want to underscore their importance to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Trustee Stefan?
Okay, well, thank you. As Denise mentioned, today is the California Teachers Association's Day of Action against gun violence in schools, and that's why I am wearing red, and one of our other trustees is wearing red. And I know that many teachers and students throughout the state of California and probably across our nation are also wearing red. It's sad that we have to do something to bring it to the public's forefront that gun violence cannot be tolerated in our schools. Our children are our future. I'm reminded of that every single day I start new with every one of my students, just like many of the faculty and professors here do. It's a good way to work throughout your whole life with everyone you meet. And I think if everyone took that attitude that each day you start new, each moment you can start fresh, you can restart your life over, we wouldn't have the problems we have. But it's sad that we have to actually say that guns have no place in school settings. And it's sad that we have to remember days like Columbine. On a more positive note, this last week was also probably one of the happiest days of my life. I have very many happy days out here at College of the Desert, but this last week we all know we had the big announcement of our purchase of property in Palm Springs, and for College of the Desert. We finally acquired a place where we can actually build the campus of our dreams. When I first ran 19 years ago, it's been 19 years now that I've been here. Yeah, it was my 19th year. That was one of my dreams, to have a large campus on the east end of the valley, a large campus on the west end of the valley, our main campus here expanded and bigger and bigger and bigger and better, and to have little centers in every one of our communities so our students could see College of the Desert while they were growing up and know that that was the next leg of their educational journey, and know that it was there for them, and that it was just like walking across the street to the next bigger school, and that they would all have the opportunity to achieve their college dreams. And so that was like a big, big highlight this week. And I even took off early. And I couldn't tell my boss. I just said, I have a real important thing I have to do at the college, and I can't tell you. I'll tell you the next day, or you can watch the news tonight. And, you know, and he would just kind of looked at me kind of weird and went, okay, you know, get out of here. So I left, and I got there, and but that was like a dream come true, because it's been many years that we've been trying to develop the east end of the valley, and I won't reiterate some of the issues and problems we've
Been
had.
interesting.
Yeah, it's been interesting. But the West End, even though we had property, it just wasn't the right one, and it's been taking forever. And you would think that would have been the easier end of the valley to fulfill that dream in. It's just something that it takes forever, and then suddenly it's like, it's there. And then you want the next step, and you want it tomorrow, or as of yesterday, or as
Yesterday
of
would've been much
19
better.
years ago would have really been good, but that's okay. We're getting there. 19 years I've been waiting. I'm very patient. I'm running out of time, though, I think, sometimes. But some of the other things that I participated in, the Cal State University, or Cal State San Bernardino Student Scholarship Fund for John Benoit that Aurora invited me to. That was a wonderful evening, and everyone there is so positive about what we do with the EDGE program and the Pledge program, and how they want to expand that type of a program over at Cal State. It's amazing. You know, people finally are waking up that a lot of times people don't fulfill their dreams because there's roadblocks, and we have to help them through that. And then I want to thank the foundation of 700,000 times for what they did with Stepping Out. I always enjoy attending those and seeing the progress that we're making in raising funds for our students and our college. And it always amazes me that they always outdo themselves, the foundation, and it's always so much better. And Lucy Arnaz was fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So I thank you.
So we're about to break, thank you so much. We're about to break for lunch, but there was one other item, Mary Jane, that I would like you to clarify. You received, or are about to receive, a great honor, and it's very significant of the board's work in the community. So would you tell us more about that?
I wanted to extend, this was an award from the League of Women Voters. I just received news just recently of Citizen of Achievement Award for 2018, and I wanted to, this is on behalf of the College of the Desert and what we've done here in the Coachella Valley. The recipients were from all over the Inland Empire, so it's going to be May 20th, and it's, if we can write 2 to 4, and from the League of Women Voters, Citizen of Achievement 2018. So I just wanted to thank the college for the able to, to represent you there, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for honoring me this year. Thank you, among other leaders. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is a perfect time for us to recess to closed session. If there are no objections from the board, then I thank you. The board will reconvene at 1:30, and at 1:30 we will adjust our agenda so that a person that's come in to give us a report will be able to give their report then. Thank you so much. Okay, you want to bring the meeting back to order, or you want me to? You do. Okay.
You're going to make me work?
I am. I'd like to reconvene the meeting. Thank you for that time for closed session. We have nothing to report out. I'd like to move away from the agenda as we discussed at the first of this meeting so that we can have a presentation Our agenda today, we have a general obligation bond election plan update presentation that is scheduled to take place at approximately 1:30, which is approximately 1:30. It is study session 1014, number 2. So we're going to move to that section of our agenda at this time. We welcome Adam Bauer from Fieldman, Rolap and Associates.
Great, good evening, and for the presentation, we sat on the wrong sides. I'm Adam Bauer, and this is Frank Vega.
That works great, thank you.
Great, well, thank you for having us this afternoon and getting us on at 1:30. We both really appreciate that. And what we've done is prepared a presentation very similar to what you've seen in the past. Obviously, we're talking about a different GEO-bond measure. We're not talking about refunding this time. The process is a little bit different, but there's also a lot of similarities. And so what we thought we would do is Frank would start off with talking about the market, and then I'll get into a lot of the slides that show the debt structure that we're looking at for this transaction.
Thank you, Adam, and good afternoon. Very excited and honored to be here. So I'll breeze through these slides fairly quickly just because I know it's kind of a dry topic, but we did want to cover just a few key items. And I think the first thing that we'd like to... Well, and when it involves money and interest rates, the conversation can go one of two ways, right? So we're going to try and leave everybody here with a good positive feeling because, as you see here on this slide, you know, people always talk about interest rates and are they high, are they low? I mean, most of us here remember it wasn't all that long ago where an 8% interest rate was considered a good borrowing rate if you got a home or if you're looking to finance something. So since the sort of the depths of the global economic crisis in 2008 to today, you see more or less a trend where rates have come down. They hit their lows, the absolute lows, in 2012. So if we were to look back 10 years, we would say we're in a very low environment. This is a good time, whether you're refinancing a home or buying a car or selling bonds, the cost of capital, the cost of funds is very affordable today than when compared to 10 years ago. And we're really not all that far off from our 60 years, historical lows from 2012. So despite all the stuff you may see on CNN or what you hear about in the news these days, in the grand scheme of things, rates are still very low, and it's still a very good time when a community college wants to finance new facility projects. Now, there's a lot here, but what we're going to show you is really just two things. In the upper left, those are the percentages of time when bonds are below their historical averages. So even though it might be hard for the audience to see, and if you have your presentation in front of you, it's a little easier to track and follow. But essentially what we're saying is, with the rarest of exceptions, and we're talking about short-term bonds, short-term rates, we are still well below the historical averages if you go back all the way to 1998. So it's just a long-winded way of saying, depending on the type of bond a college would issue, if you're doing a one-year bond, the costs are a little higher today. But as you pay off the bond over 15, 20, 25 years, we are still at our lowest point than we've ever been. And then the lower right, it's, if you think about this, and I know Adam's talked about this before when he's presented, selling a bond is no different than selling a home. It really is supply and demand. And because bond supply is very low, it is a very good time to be a community college selling bonds. There's a pent-up demand. Investors are still nervous about what's happening in the global economy. Investors are nervous about what might happen in the stock market. This is such a strong district with such a great credit rating. The demand for bonds is still very high. So as supply is low, you have one house to sell in the neighborhood.
Say that again?
Yes, let me repeat that. Starting with the leadership of the governing board and the chancellor, this is such a well-run district, and it's been proven in the last two bond sales. There is strong demand, and then just statewide, very, very strong demand for bonds. So it's a good time to be in the market.
Great, thank you. So before we move on from this slide, I want to focus on that left graph again. And one of the things that we did on that last transaction, where you basically saved your taxpayers about as much as you borrowed, which is, I think I told you, it's the only time we've ever been in that situation. Those bar charts for years 1 through 11, where you're saying 66% of the time, it drifts down to 23% of the time. they looked a lot like the long end ones, where they say 14 and 15%. So we couldn't achieve that result today. So the fact that that you took the action when you did to execute on that made it so the taxpayers could get that savings. And so really kudos to you to really jumping on that and making that happen, because like I said, you could not get that same result today. Thanks. Great. Well, I think both Frank and I really enjoy talking about interest rates. What's even more important to your bond program is your assessed value. And your assessed value is comprised of the residential and commercial property within your district boundaries. Obviously not this building. And then most other commercial properties, other than maybe a Jack in the Box, would be considered a part of the assessed value. But then what we show here is you have a very consistent growth pattern for an Inland Empire district. You had some declines, 10, 11, and 12, and then just a little bit in 13. I barely even count that. So it felt tough. I don't want to dismiss what it felt like here in those years. But when you look at an Inland Empire district, you held in there pretty well. The other thing, one of the things that helps is your size. When you're in this, like in that time, this 60 billion range, it takes a lot of homes and property values declining or increasing to have big fluctuations on that. So the size of the district is very important. So when we look at your 10-year assessed value growth average, we're still only at 0.98 because we capture all the bad years in that. So that 10-year average is going to start rolling off and looking more like the longer-term historical averages, but we're not capturing every bad year you've ever had in one window. So I think what's really better to look at is your 18-year average at 6.81. So you see we're projecting well below that, but overall you are looking very good. And you can see that chart there on the far right that shows just how consistently you've been going up with that modest 4 years of declines. Any questions on assessed value before I move on from that? No. Great, thank you. So 2019, so take our minds back to December 31st of 2017. And that's when the property value should have been determined by the assessor. So we were, I think, experiencing just growth in 17. So I expect it to be very robust. I think the one thing that holds us back a bit is even at that point, there wasn't that much development yet. This year, it feels like we're not seeing as much growth in values, but we're seeing a lot more building. So I suspect that we're somewhere in that 5 to 6 range for 2019. But we've obviously projected below that because we never want to be over what we've projected. On this slide, this is done until we have our fundings. This is your 2004 election. That red line represents a $25 per 100,000. To the far left there, I'm showing tax rate per $100,000 of assessed value. And as I've shown you in the past, in different colors, I'm showing you what each series of bonds and how much it consumes of your tax rate. So that's essentially what we're looking at over time. You shortened up that maturity. We went up to the 25, knowing that we're going to use less of our next GeoBond measure, which I'll talk about in a minute. This is your 2016 election. And what we're showing there is your 2017 GEO funding. And you can see what we're doing is, because the old measure, you had targeted at 20, but we took it up to 25, so we said we wouldn't use $5 of this one. And that's exactly what we're trying to show there, is those hash line marks are essentially the tax rate that we will not use from this measure because we went up $5 on the other measure. This is a summary of all your bonds you have outstanding. One thing you'll notice is there's no call dates for a while. So when I said it's done, we really won't be doing a whole lot of talking about this till maybe 2025, when we might have another opportunity to refinance these if interest rates are low enough to do at the time. Feels like there's a lot on this page. So let's, this one, what we show, it's we flipped it a little bit here. Those hash lines, once again, are the amount we use from the old measure. The green bars, that's what we have on the 2016. So the one that we'll be bringing to you in a few weeks are those green bars. And you can see we have a little bit in the front there. So we put extra principal in those early years to get close to that $20. And then we ratchet it way down because we're starting off with a relatively small bond sale for your program, about $50 million. And we know we have these $100 million transactions coming down the road. So we said, how can we pay off as much principal as possible up front, not stop our ability to access this if you spend money sooner than we would otherwise have projected, and then ratchet it way down so that we can layer in those additional series of bonds. You know, one of the things that we looked at, because we know how eager the college is to pay off the debt as early as possible, we actually looked to say, what if we did a really short maturity on this one? But then I kept going back to this graph on the far left there. Different economics than we were in last year. Is actually the short-term bonds are not a great bargain right now. Those rates have already gone up. It's average. About 50% of the time rates have been as low as they are on the long end. And so when we looked at this one, we just said, well, let's leave room for those other series of bonds because these long-term bonds here are still at historic lows. So this one set up with the 25-year term takes advantage of the long-term rates still being low. So you're locking in long-term low rates while they're still at historic lows. And that's why you see a projected repayment ratio of like 1.54. I think most people, if they ever achieve that on their home mortgage, would be thrilled with that type of scenario. So it's still very low. I think that's, as Mr. Vega talked about, your great rating and the way you've managed that, and recently got upgrades. And then also making sure you manage your debt well. And then on this, what we're laying out here is just a whole lot of numbers, but we're showing you a typical sources and uses. The takeaway from this is you're getting $50 million for projects, and then we're showing to the far right there the repayment and what that looks like over time. Next steps, this afternoon, we're before you to introduce this like we've done in the past. We've always done one meeting we introduce, another meeting we come back. We have a credit rating presentation meeting in San Francisco. You recently did receive an upgrade. We want to make sure we put our best foot forward, knowing that we have a large bond program coming forward, and we want to reiterate a lot of the strong points we've made in the past. Then we hope to have a rating on June 1st, and then we hope that County Board of Supervisors would have take their action on June 5th. So this is a line item you haven't seen in the past. So on refundings, the county does not need to be the one that actually approves the documents. On new money or new project bonds, they do need to be the one that actually takes that action. And so that's why we have this extra step in there. But what it does is it gives us time to come back to you on May 18th, get our rating, and then have the county do it. What you've seen us do in the past is I'm usually getting the ratings just before I come to this meeting. I've asked for it by that date. What we'll have to do now is do through a trustee report or some sort of follow-up like this, come back and report on those rating results. The goal, though, is to try to close by June 27th, and that's what you see there. I think both Mr. Vega and I will ask for some flexibility on this. The 2017 and 2018, the market has been choppy. So if June 13th turns out to be a great day, we're going to say pedal to the metal, let's get it done. If it doesn't, we might ask staff to say, can we hold off a week and make sure we time this market well. But hopefully we end up closing on the June 27th timeline. And now you have the two of us available for any questions or more details.
Okay, I'm sure that there are some questions. I don't think everyone's, yeah, it's very clear. You have a question? Okay.
I'm just looking at the next steps. So on June 5th, the County Board of Supervisors, what do? They do a vote, or what do they do, or is it just paperwork?
They do a lot like what you do. They may ask us to do a presentation. They usually don't, but they will take an action item and approve a resolution of issuance just like you. It looks a lot like your documents, but it says county on top on behalf of College of the Desert.
So they do an action item?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Do they have an informational step like we do, or does it just come before them full blown?
I believe they do. It's circulated to the county treasurer tax collector, and we provide them the information in advance, but I believe they usually do a write-up.
Interesting.
I don't think that is made public. I think
Right.
it's made available to the Board of Supervisors.
Interesting. Any other questions?
It looks wonderful.
It's a great
Very good.
presentation.
Great. Well, we look forward to seeing you on May 18th, and hopefully without Coachella in town, we'll have a little less traffic on the way out.
Yes, indeed. Well, actually, on the way out, you should be fine. Coming in today should have been interesting.
It was interesting. A lot of Porsches coming to Coachella.
Yes, yes.
Well, we
Well, come back next weekend and you can enjoy stage.
We thought you came out here and pitched your tents and you were participating.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
the campground's open this morning at 3 o'clock, 3 a.m.
Oh, see, I couldn't get in. I tried 2. I tried 2 o'clock. Great. Well, thank you. It's always great to see you.
Thank you for the presentation. This was an informational item. It will be brought back to us for action at the May meeting.
And did you hear Best, what did he say about our institution, our rating?
Yeah, what was that? Did we hear that?
Best run,
Yeah, yes.
99.999 percentile state of California.
Yeah, definitely. Or something like that, yes. Thank you so much. So returning to the agenda.
It's your report.
It's my time for my report. Pull out my little
Oh,
sticky
yeah.
note. I think public safety has to be on our minds, as is the safety of our community. I'm sad to say that the news reports another school shooting in Ocala, Florida, which is a small, or was a small, it's not so small anymore, rural community in Central Florida. So, as my thoughts and support goes out to that community, I think it's important that we look to see all the ways that we can protect our students and our college community. It's even in my K-12 school district, there's been an incident. It was just a threat. It wasn't anyone actually carrying a gun, but it was terrifying to all of those concerned. I'm happy to say that the thing about using social media with kids is that if you post something on social media and it's going to disappear in X number of minutes, don't count on it because somebody else took a screenshot. So, one of the backups there was the rumor went through the school district, through the parents and the students, because it was high school, and there were enough students and parents that had been trained to know how to report it to the sheriff's department. There was a big presence on campus that day, and there were no problems. But that's something we need to think about as to how our students or our staff reports this, to whom, and there need to be, I think, some clear instructions. So I'm looking forward to hearing what we do. I know that our public safety department is working on that, and we do have plans, and some of those plans shouldn't be public. But there needs to be enough information. We need to be sure that our text alert works. Some of our alerts go through our MyCOD, whatever it is, our own college email, which is very cool, but it doesn't pop up on our students' phones necessarily. It's probably user error. We need to be sure those users know how to link that account into their phone so that if they don't get a text and we send an email, they actually get it.
Do we have an app?
Don't know. So safe space is important to all of us. I've been out in the community the last month, and I think like all of us, as we mix with other members of our community, there are always folks that would like to know more about College of the Desert. I've passed out a lot of that information about Pledge and EDGE and returning students that have grown, have their children grown now and have a chance to go back to school. So when I have those questions, I try to send them in to Julia so she can send them to the appropriate person. And I thank you for your response. Generally, the response is, you know, send Julia the name of the person and contact information and sort of what they need. And one of the appropriate staff member will respond In one case, I did that, and I saw the lady the next day, and she was so happy, and her daughter was so happy that. On the other hand, I talked to someone whose child was planning to go to Arizona State, and Dad was kind of sweating the money, and I gave the COD pitch. Ended up on the phone talking to the kid, and the kid's going, "Oh, Dad doesn't know anything. I've already applied for pledge," and gave me the whole rundown, so we're good. Our word is getting out to the high school community. Our students are smart. They're working on that. I'm very thrilled about the West Valley campus. I'm very thrilled. We're looking for giving our students an opportunity to learn the skills for tomorrow. I've worked on this, I think, since the first meeting that I was on this board, but it didn't actually come before us for maybe 2 or 3 meetings after I was on this board. But we've been looking for the right location in West Valley. We've done very well throughout the rest of the valley. I can see that we're building foundations and can grow. I think we got it this time, because the mall, the old mall, is a perfect location, so it's very exciting. One of the things I'll continue to push is that we've got great opportunities. We can't duplicate and replicate every program. So we've got to find ways to either get our students from the East Valley that want to learn something we're specializing in the West Valley. We need to get them there. Things that we're going to teach in the East Valley that a West Valley student, we owe it to that student to figure out how we're going to help that student get to that location. I feel like this idea of having portable classrooms, I'll call them, they're not exactly that, and taking them out to the community so that they get the beginning of that program, and then we know what our cohort is to move to the location where we have the other classes. I think that'll help. I think that's probably, and I know that that's something our staff's working on. So as a trustee, I encourage that, because I think it's important looking at the diversity of our students. When we had presentations this morning, it's important that we look at diversity in many ways, and that we offer as equal an opportunity to each student as we possibly can. So that's my report. And on a personal side, I thank you all for your personal support over the last month. I get by with the help of my friends, and I thank you very much for that. Okay, moving on to the next item, Dr. Kinnaman.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to echo my appreciation for all the work and effort to acquire the mall site. It has taken so many people, from the board to the community to faculty, staff, everybody. And it's going to take all of us to continue as we move to the next stages of that. And I know that everybody's going to be there because there's so much enthusiasm around the future and what we can dream and end up ultimately creating for the community. Again, we've got a lot of projects that are taking place. We just had the presentation on a bond issuance. We will be expanding, Mac will be expanding his team to help us implement projects. Is he still here? Okay, good. So we can implement the projects in a very timely manner, and one that so that the students don't have to wait any longer to get those educations that they deserve. Earlier, I provided some other updates, and I think that was the biggest part of my report, so that'll conclude my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 11 is the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be considered for approval by a single vote without discussion. Any board member may request that an item be pulled from the consent agenda to be discussed and considered separately in the agenda.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I wanted to pull some.
So move.
Second.
Okay, and now I move for, okay, is there, next verbiage?
Pull.
Pull, is there any?
Yes.
Objection,
Yes.
if there's any
I don't-
objections, if I'm correct.
Right. This for discussion, I need, the discussion
like she
item
wants to
is where
pull
we get to
something.
the pulling.
Pulling.
Mhm.
Correct.
I'd like to pull consent agenda item B2,
Okay.
job description.
Job
I have
description.
it right here.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna add one.
Okay.
I'd like-
And, Mary J?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to pull item A2, board policy review.
Okay. A2, board policy,
First reading.
okay. And I would like to pull, admin services, 1B.
Just one.
Mm-hmm. It looks interesting.
Very interesting.
Okay. So, looking at my parliamentarian,
Any more discussion?
any, no? So I call.
Student trustee.
All those in favor? Right. So I can call for the vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm calling for the vote. Student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it's unanimous vote. This is the time that we'll consider the pulled items from consent. Do I have a motion to approve item, I'm going to do them as presented, to approve item consent B2?
So move.
Second. I have a motion and a second. It's been moved and seconded that we now move to the discussion. Trustee Stefan?
Yeah, let me pull it here if I can find it. Or my
If you'll
B2.
open it, I have,
Okay,
yeah, I have a few additions there.
where was it? Could we have an explanation on Director of Alumni Engagement, please?
Certainly. The three positions presented before you is a partial recommendation regarding the college moving towards an advancement model. If you recall, we had a task force that was working on how we move towards more of what we see at a lot of universities, and it's a model that brings together different varying parts of the organization in advancing the institution in development initiatives and even the imaging of the college, branding of the college, the outreach, et cetera. The Director of Alumni Engagement is a position that will assist us in that. It's a position that is being funded by our Alumni Association. The Alumni Association is an independent 501c3, but like our foundation employees are employees of the district. And so this position will be an employee of the district that is funded by the Alumni Association. The intent is for the Alumni Association to continue the Alumni Association board as we're implementing the advancement model, but to also establish goals around what alumni type of initiatives that we should be pursuing. And some of those would be working to develop our alumni database, working to develop programs related to our alumni and how we can incorporate them more into the college and strengthen our relationship with them. So that's the background on the position. I don't know if that clarified.
So my reading of it was, my worry was that we were somehow merging the alumni and the foundation, and that's always worried me because, as you know, I feel that they have two different functions and probably in some cases attract two different persons, two different people. Although often they interact and sometimes you might belong to both, but there should also be the opportunity to belong to just one or the other. And we promised the community that we would keep those separate. I don't mean separate that they don't ever interact. I don't mean separate that they can't work together to advance the college. For my part, I want to be sure that the alumni is going to be there as an entity and the foundation is going to be there as an entity.
That is correct. We have both the Alumni Association Board and the Foundation Board that act independent. And I will say act independent, but they really act
They should act
under
as a
the
team, right?
under the advancement model. They really act to fulfill the mission of
Right.
this board
Right,
and the
exactly.
goals of this board around students
Well,
and
which is
alumni.
acting as a team to help student success. So.
Yes.
Okay, now my question goes back to the description under the position. It says, under the direction of the executive director of the foundation.
That's
This
correct.
person would then report to the director of the foundation?
That person will report to the director of the foundation. However, the director of the foundation is also a member of the Alumni Association Board, but only one member of the board. So the Alumni Association Board can establish goals, and then the director working with the position that they're funding, and again, they've agreed to fund it for 3 years, so that gives us an opportunity to see how effective this works in achieving those goals. Then they'll be able to work in unison to achieve the goals and report back to the Alumni Association Board.
Okay, so the swap, our opportunities to make money by selling at the street fair and whatever, those things will remain more or less as they are now.
There will be no change with those at all. Yes.
Any other questions?
I was a little bit concerned with regard to the reporting, the position would report to the executive director of the foundation, and you raised some good concerns, Madam Chair, with regard to the separation of the foundation and the Alumni Association.
I know that this has concerned not just ourselves, but it's also concerned the community in the past. So I want to be sure, want us to have a clear vision that the reporting did the same to me, and that's what worried me. So, I don't know, I feel that it's something we're going to try, but I want to be sure that we have that separation.
And I think as we move forward with the advancement model, there are some additional positions that will be coming forward to the board. Really trying to frame us away from looking at things purely through the lens of the foundation or purely through the lens of the alumni.
If the
but
foundation and the alumni reported to someone
exactly.
up, above, I would feel more comfortable than the alumni reporting to the foundation that reports up.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. And as we unfold this plan, I think that into the advancement model, I think that it will start to get mirror more what you're looking at. Currently, I would like to point out the Alumni Association itself as an entity, that their employees are only employees that are working with the street fair, and those employees are not employees of the district. And so this is a step towards having them as an employee of a district and pulling them into that advancement role.
Okay.
That's a college function.
So no one is performing the essential duties at present.
That is correct.
That's the critical point.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, as I say, I would feel more comfortable if I knew that the foundation can do some things the Alumni Association cannot do because of the way they're structured. So it'd be very valuable to be able to have that information. But again, I'd feel more comfortable if that person were reporting and this person were reporting, and there were a person up here instead of the alumni person reporting to the foundation person. So, just a thought.
And I would only add that they all ultimately report to me. And I am your employee. So I am your employee, so it's critical for me to make sure that we get the outcomes that the board desires.
Thank you.
These duties are long overdue, need to be performed.
They need to be performed, and the
Yes.
only thing that worried me is that,
Who they report
who they
to.
report to, how we're blending them. I
Mhm.
think we're hurting ourselves if we blend it incorrectly.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
What would happen if the executive director for alumni or alumni engagement or director of alumni reported to you instead of the foundation? Director of foundation.
You know, based on the scope of work and what that position would be doing, I believe it's more appropriately reporting at a different level in the organization.
Yeah, that part I don't doubt, but it's a good approach to look for that other person.
The common ground.
Yeah, common ground thing, so.
So technically, they're both separate. Are they both auxiliaries, or don't they fall under that category?
They both have memorandums of agreement with the College of the Desert, so, they're both auxiliaries.
So they're separate auxiliaries?
Well,
Or they're separate?
Under Ed Code, they are set up as auxiliaries, but the MOA really ties them to the college. They could not exist without being tied to the college.
But I mean, they aren't tied to each other, like the bookstore isn't tied to them. That's an auxiliary or two.
That it is, yes.
And so they're separate, but they're.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel better.
That's better.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? We're ready for a vote. Student trustee?
All right. I'll go with I. Yeah. Trust.
Yeah, trust, right.
Yeah.
And I hope you feel the,
I feel it.
okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously with a little stress.
With several concerns.
Several concerns, yes. Second item we pulled was A2 Board Policy Review. Do I have a motion to approve this item? That'd be you, Mary Jane? So there's a motion, I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded that we move to discussion. Would you like to present your?
I think it's, in lieu, we're one of the, I've noticed the 2016 largest increase of the homeless population of the Coachella Valley. I just wanted to share that with everyone. Cathedral City is up at 63%, Coachella 37%, Desert Hot Springs 53%, Palm Springs got the highest rating at 66% of the homeless population. And most of all, our unincorporated areas have seen a lot of increase in our homeless. I'm very pleased that the College of the Desert will be facing and advocating for having shower facilities for our homeless students. I know I've been bringing up this, I would like to see more wraparound services, and that tying in with our mental health, tying in with a lot of these couch surfers that we have in students. So I just wanted to make a point that I'm very pleased that we are addressing this problem, this monumentous problem here in the Coachella Valley. And we're doing that here and doing our fair share, providing shower facilities for the homeless students, and I'd like to see more. And I think that's awesome. Thank you so much. And for any I'd like to hear more from Dr. Neary.
Thank you.
You turn me on? Okay. So When the legislation passed to address our homeless students, we had the opportunity to provide them shower facilities, priority registration. In addition to that, we do care packets. We have 9 food pantries, and we have food distribution, and we coordinate with the distribution sites of Find Food Banks from the East to the West Valley, depending where our students go. And actually, we were the first one out to provide wraparound services for our homeless students. So we have dedicated staff support and a dedicated counselor who works with our homeless youth. Currently, we have a number of meetings with facilities in the East and West Valley for housing and security.
Thank you.
I have a question. Is it hard to find the statistics to see how many homeless students we have, or do we know?
It's a difficult question because the definition of homeless in terms of our legislation is broad. So on the federal financial aid application, there's an opportunity to answer based on a very strict federal definition. But in fact, we have couch surfers, and couch surfers do qualify as homeless students issuing wraparound services, including the priority needs like registration and so forth, as defined by our state. And we self-identify through faculty in the classroom as well as our counselors and other support services.
One question I have is, how are we going to get this out to the students to see, like, to get those students aware that, we have showers for them here?
So in terms of the services for our homeless students, we did send them out to the student distribution groups and students who self-identify. We actually have a working list that we work from. And in addition to that, I have a work group that will meet this summer. We're creating a resource guide for all the insecurities that we can hand out to faculty, staff, and students. And we're hoping to launch that campaign this fall.
That's great.
Very good.
That's great. Is there any other discussion? Okay, hearing no more discussion. Student trustee Delgado, your vote?
Aye.
All in favor, please say yes.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. The last item pulled was admin services. I'm looking at my own email here. Admin services, 1B, contract C-0000994. And that is that item about the energized colleges. A quote from our packet is, engage high school students about energy careers. Could we know more about this program?
Certainly. Dr. Ralston, would you mind sharing a little bit?
I'd be happy to. Thanks. So a while ago, we applied for and became eligible to host an energy fellow on our campus, and we are happy to have Brian Lee working with us. Energized Colleges is a sub-program that's connected to Strategic Energy Innovations, and it's an organization that's really interested in helping create more educational employment opportunities for people in new energy fields. And so the addendum that's in front of you this time helps make possible further work by our faculty and staff in developing effective curriculum and educational opportunities on our campus, as well as some of our liaison relationships with our K-12 partners. And then most excitingly, this creates an opportunity for at least 10 internships starting in fall 18 in new energy fields. And the Strategic Energy Innovations Group will help support what that work looks like as we bring those internships into being, and will help place students. So we're really excited about this opportunity. And John Caffrey has carried the lion's share of that work in the Applied Sciences and Business School with the help of Dean Becker, and we're just really excited about the work that the faculty and staff in that area have done with energy for a very long time, and they just continue to innovate, and so we're really excited about it.
That is really exciting. Are we working with, are all 3 K-12 school districts working with us? I almost asked that backwards.
I believe so. I know that Brian Lee has worked through our K-12 consortium group to make connections with that. It's possible that one of those school districts may not have gotten as well connected. That's an area that we keep working on. So I do know that there's been a lot of outreach.
Great. Well, and that's pretty much what we can do, but we can keep encouraging and offering things here so for those students that come on through to have that opportunity to learn the skills. So that's great. Any other questions or discussion on this? Thank you so much. That is
Thank you.
exciting, and I love those opportunities where, again, where we're teaching a skill for the technology of today, because that particular technology is going to change quickly.
Always.
But there are things that can be learned if you're in the field, working in the field. So I'm sure we'll continue to do follow-up things, but that actually puts people where we are now.
Yeah.
Skills
Thank
for
you,
the
Trustee.
day.
Yeah, thank you, Trustee Broughton.
Thank you. Okay, so, let me see, back to this. We have covered all the items that we've pulled.
You need a vote.
Oh, I need a vote. I do. Trustee, student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hear that is unanimous vote. See, I was so excited to get through that, I got out in front of myself.
The bus didn't hit you.
That's right, the bus didn't hit me, yes, well, so I did. Okay, so am I on action agenda?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so, Board of Trustees, A was the items we pulled, which we've covered. B, Board of Trustees, Board Policy Review, second reading. Board Policy 1100.1, Desert Community College locations. Do I have a motion to approve BP 1100.1, Desert Community College District locations as presented?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I'm really excited to see so many locations that are actually permanent locations rather than
Isn't that exciting?
3 classrooms at this high school or 2 classrooms at this church and on and on and on like we used to have when I first joined this board many, many moons ago.
But that is how we built that foundation, so that
And that's why
as
we're
we
able-
open the doors of a new building, it's full. So that's wonderful.
That's right.
Any other discussion? Student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I hear that as unanimous vote. Human Resources, approval of tentative agreements between the Desert Community College District and the College of the Desert Adjunct Association. Do I have a motion to approve the tentative agreements between the Desert Community College District and the College of the Desert Adjunct Association as presented?
So move.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I'm glad to see we finally reached an agreement, a little late, but at least we got there. And hopefully we'll do a little better this year.
Any other discussion? We ready for the vote? Student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hear that as unanimous vote. Number 2, initial proposal for contract negotiations from the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 407 to Desert Community College District. So for this, we need the public hearing.
You can read all this, right?
Yes, I'm going to read all this. Public hearing and acknowledgement of initial proposal from the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407, to the Desert Community College District. This board agenda item is conducting a public hearing under the Educational Employment Relations Act regarding negotiation proposals. Today's public hearing is regarding the initial proposal from the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407, to the Desert Community College District. Following the public hearing, the school will take action to acknowledge California School Employees Association, Chapter 407 proposal. In accordance with Government Code Section 3547, all bargaining proposals are to be presented at a public meeting of a public school employer, and that is the purpose of today's hearing. Since today's hearing pertains to public hearings held prior to the opening of negotiations, it's not appropriate for, nor will members of the Board of Trustees comment on any of the initial negotiation proposals. Notice how subtle that was. For the public hearing, each speaker is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes per topic. 15 minutes shall be the maximum time allotted for public speakers on any one subject, regardless of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of the majority of the board, these time limits may be extended. The Board of Trustees opens the public hearing for the initial proposal for negotiations from the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407 to the Desert Community College District. Would speakers who wish to address this item please come forward and state their remarks?
Please start the time. Thank you. I thought we were going to get Jeopardy.
Oh, yeah.
He was tempting, I'm sure.
He's always so good at getting something better than what I think.
Oh, you're great, thank you.
It would be appropriate for us all to get up and dance, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
If you turn the volume up, it would be like at home. I was hoping you didn't hear that. Actually, at home, the walls go. Bring them.
Are there any speakers who wish to address the board on this proposal? Thank you very much. I now close the public hearing. Now we move to take action on the California School Employees Association Chapter 407 proposal. It is recommended by the district that the Board of Trustees vote to acknowledge the initial proposal from California School Employees Association Chapter 407. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved. Second?
I hear a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we're ready for the vote. Student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The Board of Trustees hereby acknowledges the initial proposal for negotiations from the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407, to the California Community College District. The parties may hereby commence negotiations. Yeah, there should be some action at this point. Okay.
That's it.
Number 3, initial reopener proposal, public hearing, and acknowledgement of reopener proposal from the College of the Desert Faculty Association to the Desert Community College District. Public hearing and acknowledgement of the reopener proposal for negotiations from the Community College Faculty Association to the Desert Community College District. This board agenda item is conducting a public hearing under the Education Employment Relations Act regarding negotiations proposals. Today's public hearing is regarding the reopener proposal from the Desert Community College Faculty Association to the District Community College District. Following the public hearing, the board will take action to acknowledge the Desert Community College Faculty Association proposal. In accordance with Government Code Section 3547, all bargaining proposals are to be presented at a public hearing of a public school employer, and that is the purpose of today's hearing. Since today's hearing pertains to public hearings held prior to the opening of negotiations, it is not appropriate for, nor will any members of the Board of Trustees comment on any of the initial negotiation proposals. For the public hearing, each speaker is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes per topic. 15 minutes shall be the maximum time allotment for public speakers on any one subject, regardless of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of a majority of the board, these time limits may be extended. The Board of Trustees opens the public hearing for the reopener proposal for negotiations from the Desert Community College Faculty Association to the Desert Community College District. Would speakers who wish to address this item please come forward and state their remarks?
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
You're doing a wonderful job. You're doing a wonderful job.
She picked out all the music too.
Oingo
She picked out all the music too.
No.
So good.
Talking heads.
Oingo Boingo Radio. Oh, yeah.
You may
wait.
ask yourself.
What's the song?
Is it 1981?
Once in a lifetime. He performed there.
We are playing trivia.
And the days go by. Good selection.
Are there any speakers who wish to address the board on this proposal?
Hear the words.
Thank you very much. I now close the public hearing. Now we move to take action on the Desert Community College Faculty Association proposal. It is recommended by the district that the Board of Trustees vote to acknowledge the reopener proposal from the Desert Community College Faculty Association. Is there a motion to that effect?
So move.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, are we ready for the vote?
Yes.
Student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries 5-0. The Board of Trustees hereby adopts the proposal for negotiations from the Desert Community College Faculty Association to the Desert Community College District. The parties may hereby commence negotiations. Item 4, initial proposal, public hearing, and approval of initial proposal from the Desert Community College District to the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 407. Public hearing and adoption of the initial proposal from the Desert Community College District to the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407. This board agenda item is conducting a public hearing under the Educational Employment Relations Act regarding negotiation proposals. Today's public hearing is regarding the initial proposal from the Desert Community College District to the College of the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407. See, I got lost there. Following the public hearing, the board will take action to adopt the district's proposal. In accordance with Government Code Section 3547, all bargaining proposals are to be presented at a public meeting of a public school employer, and that is the purpose of today's hearing. Since today's hearing pertains to public hearings held prior to the opening of negotiations, it's not appropriate for, nor will members of the Board of Trustees comment on any of the initial negotiation proposals. For the public hearing, each speaker is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes per topic. 15 minutes shall be the maximum time allotment for public speakers on any one subject regarding of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of a majority of the board, these time limits may be extended. The public hearing. The Board of Trustees opens the public hearing for the initial proposal for negotiations from the Desert Community College District to the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407. Would speakers who wish to address this item please come forward and state their remarks?
I had high hopes. Somebody got up.
No.
Instead, they leave.
I can't imagine why.
They ought to give us some, like, Washington strum or something.
Something, yes. We're getting there.
Almost there.
I may send you the homework.
I kind of like that, man.
Yeah.
Are there any speakers who wish to address the board on this proposal? Thank you very much. I now close the public hearing. Now we move to take action on the district's proposal. It's recommended by the district that the Board of Trustees vote to adopt the district's proposal. Is there a motion to that effect?
So move.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I believe we're ready to vote. Student trustee Delgado?
Aye.
Thank you, student trustee. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, all opposed? The motion carries 4-0 with one abstaining. The Board of Trustees hereby adopts the initial proposal for negotiations from the Desert Community College District to the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407. The parties may hereby commence negotiations. Administrative services. If you would turn, please, Administrative Services. Resolution number 042018-1, authorization to encumber funds for the following fiscal year. Do I have a motion to approve resolution number 042018-1 as presented?
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? I was wondering if we could have a brief explanation.
All right, Vice President Romano, would you like to respond?
Yeah.
We want to hear from you today, is why.
Thank you, Trustee Stefan. This item is something we bring every year, and basically it allows us to start setting up purchase orders for next year so that we have good business continuity and we don't have any breaks in services or some of our main things. Usually purchase orders for things like utilities and maintenance supplies and things like that.
Thank you very much. And at this time, we will have a roll call vote. Dr. Kinnaman, would you?
Thank you. Student Trustee Delgado.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton.
Aye.
Trustee Yant.
Aye.
Trustee Broughton.
Broughton.
Oh, I'm Stefan. I'm sorry.
Aye.
All righty.
Bring it out here. Okay, here we go.
Long day.
The motion has carried unanimously with a vote of 4-0 with one abstaining. Information agenda. Administrative procedure reviews. Please look these over. Okay, and if you have any questions, contact Julia, who will forward them on for your questions, okay? And these are for procedures. Now we move into the study session. And she's out, okay. We're gonna be looking at the board self-evaluation instrument at this time. And I believe those were passed out to us prior to our lunch break. If I'm not mistaken, if you could each get those out. And as we look these over, the first set is board organization. There are 4 responses for board officer responsibilities being clear, and it was equally distributed between the 4s and the 5s categories. Next one under that was the board considers and respects minority opinions. And this, out of 4 responses, we had, let's see, where is it? It's kind of cut off up here.
All 5s.
Well, let's see. Yeah, there are 4 responses. We had 3 that were at 75.
3, that's right.
And someone didn't mark it. And then for board committees, have clear and appropriate responsibilities. 4 responses again. We had 3 responses and 4, and 1 response at the 5 level. Board members make decisions after thorough discussion and explanation of many perspectives. 4 responses, 1 at the 4 level and 3 at the 5 level. Meeting agenda items contain sufficient background information and recommendations for the board. There were 2 at the 4 level and 5 at the 5, or 2 at the 4 level and 2 at the 5 level. Again, 4 responses. For comments on this section, there were only 2 responses. The first one, this area was improved in the last year due to additional staff and qualified, organized administrative staff. Well, there were 2 people that responded to this, I should say. And then another comment was, we have made considerable strides in having more background information and supporting information, and we are always encouraged to ask questions both prior to and at the board meeting. The more background information that is shared in the agenda documents, the more transparent our jobs become. we can always strive to do more. And the last comment in that section, just because we have our questions answered, is still important to remember that we may not have all of the answers, therefore we need to always discuss decisions so that more perspectives can be explored. The next section was policy role. And as we move into policy role, you'll notice the first question there was, board members understand and support the concept that the board policy is the primary voice of the board. There are 4 responses, 4 at the 4 level and, 2 at the 4 level and 2 at the 5 level. And the next question, the board has clarified, does the public get copies of these? No, so that's why I'm reading it, right, to make it transparent? I guess not. The board has clarified the difference between its policy role and the roles of the CEO and staff. There's 4 responses, 3 at the 4 level and 1 at the 5 level. The next one, the board focuses on policy in board discussions, not administrative matters. There's 4 responses, 2 at the 4 level and 2 at the 5 level. The board, through the CEO, seeks advice and recommendations from the faculty, staff, and students in developing educational policy, 1 at the 4 level and 3 at the 5 level. And then comments on policy role, only 1 person responded. The comment we have from that is, although the board is keenly aware that they are the policymaking body, knowing and not engaging in discussions about doing is sometimes difficult. Our board cares deeply about the college and sometimes in the enthusiasm will make suggestions rather than just making inquiries. To expedite things a little bit, I'm not going to read everything else. If the board looks through this, you'll see most of our responses on the questions are at the 4 and 5 level. I think probably the best way we can look at our evaluation is turn to the end, where we have the major accomplishments of the board. Probably the most important is, what are the areas in which the board could improve? 3 people made responses. Those responses came down to more involvement in long-term planning. Board had made excellent strides to work together. Student safety at the college, college community safety at the college, another area to improve. And I guess that excellent strides to work together needs to be extended beyond that to continue that effort. We need to improve our board member training. The study sessions that are planned and presented at the meeting are a big help. So I would say that would narrow it down to safety, training, planning, and working together would be our ways to improve the board. 2 most important changes we think we need to address. 3 responses were given there, or 3 people responded, excuse me. Ensuring opportunities for input from all relevant parties at board meetings. Move the comment period on agendas to just after opening the meeting in order to better accommodate the needs of the working public. That way they have a designated time rather than after closed session. And as our chair mentioned today, that's why we right now have 2 public hearing sections. Because we're trying to get one at the beginning, but some people might still think we have it after closed session, they show up at the wrong time.
You mean
So
public
before
comment?
and we're trying to see the feasibility of that.
Public comment sections.
Yeah, the public comment
Yeah.
section, so that they can participate. That's what those 2 comments were addressing. And then the next one was, we need to continue to improve our calendar so that members are more aware of when events take place. And then priorities, 3 to 5 priorities for the board to make as priorities for the coming year. 3 people responded. One of them is the Palm Springs campus. Woo, we accomplished something. Monitoring Foundation, monitoring Sacramento for impact on local campus, support enrollment growth, support faculty and staff development. Another board member contributed construction of new library and new board chambers, increase the number of full-time faculty, continue to make student success and completion a priority. And the third one was to continue to focus on the educational master plan and the upcoming facilities master plan. With the facilities master plan, we need to remain focused on the use of the bond money. This will include hiring the appropriate personnel to oversee the bond program and facilities, to continue to support fundraising efforts for the pledge program, and to acquire and develop more sites so that students can have the classes they need as close to their homes or work as possible. This should include more opportunities in the East and the West Valley with both general education and workforce-oriented classes. And lastly, that board member contributed to consider how we can facilitate staff to have opportunities to grow professionally in ways that will help the students learn, help the individuals involved be stronger in their fields, and help the college offer more to this community's future. And there was one additional comment. It's an exciting time to be a board member at College of the Desert. We are the fastest growing community college because of both great need for higher education here in the Valley and a college-wide team that continues to make students their priority. Our students face great challenges, not the least by just finding the transportation to get to class. Offering classes closer to those students and finding a way to mitigate the digital divide are key issues in student access and success. And is there anything that any board member would like to contribute? That was a review for the public that I kind of went over.
You're very good.
And I'm going to turn it back over to you
Actually-
because they want me to shut up.
Okay. I'm sure you did a fine job. Are there any other additions, things that people have thought of since we filled out this? Or is there an area you'd like to highlight with a suggestion?
Student safety.
Student safety. I think student safety is a big issue, and I think student safety and community safety is very important.
I think also I want to say wraparound services. I think here in the Coachella Valley, it's something to do with this whole homelessness, this whole issue of food scarcity, that, I don't know how to word that, but.
Yeah.
I have one. As everybody knows, I always wanted to have our campus accessible to everybody. We're not accessible if we don't have transportation. So I'm going to go with the big transportation thing. We really need to step up and investigate that.
Okay, and I'd like to broaden that to the transportation is access, being able to get to school. In some of our cases, we need to see if there's any way that we can help students get to the internet, because much of the education is provided through internet. I still say if you can't go to school on your telephone, then there's a good chance students that live in my area can't go to school. And my comment earlier about the being sure if we have a situation on campus that we want to let our students know to not come to the campus, I'm not sure that we're communicating with the students and the students with us well enough that we can feel confident that they're getting this message that, you know, there's a shooter on campus or there's a problem on campus and we don't want them. So that has worked for other schools. I think we need to continue to review it because it's never going to be something we fix 100%. And it's going to always change as technology changes. But that transportation, that access to our campuses, to our education, whether it's we're helping them find transportation to the class, whether we're bringing the classes to a location near you, or whether it's how to get on, the ability to get on, not how to get on, they can do that really well, the ability to get to, on a faster internet, or an internet that's better than sitting in Starbucks, and, yeah, I don't even have to go in with that one. Okay, so, because that is a challenge to our community.
It is.
Okay, so
Madam Chair, I just wondered, is the self-evaluation part of our accreditation? Is the standard?
Well,
It
yes,
is?
it is. It's a
It
part
is.
of our, and it's something that accreditation always looks for, to see how we completed it, how our suggestions fit with the president's goals. And of course, the president's goals filter out to his team members. So it's always important that when we do these, that we think about that, and that we're not evaluating ourselves, but because we are no one. We as a board are someone. So it's important when we do this that we keep that in mind. Because this actual instrument, this compilation, is attached to the minutes, I suspect, of this meeting, and they'll be pulled by accreditation to see, what's the board doing? So.
And did we participate?
And did we participate? And always the question is, do we have a legitimate discussion? You know, do we have a legitimate discussion, or do we just come in here with our minds made up and roll
Rubber
through?
stamp.
And rubber stamp, or even just without any discussion. It's nothing wrong with us standing up for our opinions, but once the board has made a decision, once we put these ideas out, do we all stand behind them? You know, that's part of us working as a team. So, yes, that's why I always complain about this evaluation, because it's hard to evaluate us as a group. On the other hand, at least it's a way for us to talk about it.
And to that end, Madam Chair, I see there's only 4 responses, and there's 5 of us.
So one of us probably didn't respond.
And I guess I'd like to see that next year, that all 5 of us, I mean, just as you said, and President Kinnaman said, how important it is that we evaluate ourselves for the community, for the college community.
Right.
That includes all of us.
And we have to evaluate ourselves because we sit in a very unusual position. We evaluate our one employee on a regular basis. For
Daily.
him. Daily, yes, that too, but
On a
at every
Tuesday.
board meeting, we have that opportunity. All of us in this community are evaluated in a formal manner, but we're in this position of our evaluation comes from our constituents, so we have to evaluate ourselves.
It's called an election.
Yeah.
It's called an election, exactly.
And this is part of standard for an accreditation.
Mhm.
Very important.
So I thank you all for speaking as the chair, with all that power that comes with being chair of this board. I thank you for all your comments. The grading part is always interesting, but to me, the comments are the best, because that way I have a feel for what other board members are thinking. The evaluation, sometimes here the thoughts bounce off spontaneously, but when we have this evaluation instrument, we have a chance to think about it, and sometimes to go back and add something. Oh, I filled that out, but now before I turn it in, I need to go back and add this thing, or not, yes.
It's good reflection.
It's good
I
reflection.
have a question. I already asked if the public had access to this. We said no. It doesn't get attached to the minutes or anything, does it? The discussion is all that's documented. I kind of skimmed, went through the first, so the chair knows. I went through the first 2 sections, and then I skipped to the recommendations where we could improve and
Great.
the other part. I didn't go through the whole thing
You didn't go
because
through-
I did review that it was mostly 4s and 5s, but I didn't read the other comment sections. So that's in the record, so that she's aware.
Excellent, that's wonderful.
In case you wanted to add something else.
That's what I'm checking to see what you went on. But you did the comments, so
No,
that's good.
I didn't do the comments for all the
No,
sections,
but
just
you
the
did
first 2.
The first 2, okay.
And then I skipped toward that.
And I think that's very acceptable because we didn't, I would think we needed a lot of discussion if we had greatly disagreed on something. If we had voted at various levels, then I think that would be something we'd need to come back and go. But otherwise, it looks like we're pretty much on the same page.
And some of them were all 5 centimeter sections, so.
Right, right. Okay, I thank you for that. Are there any more comments that we should add to this? Okay, hearing none. This is an information item, so there's no action that we need to take on it. And we have done
That was actually a study session.
it was excuse me, it was a study session, but there's no action that we need to take on it. Well, yes, and the other study session for the day was a general obligation bond presentation. So we're up to future agenda items. Thank you, Bonnie, for getting me back on track. Are there, student Delgado, do you have any future agenda items that come to mind at this moment?
Yes, the transportation fee. I would like to see that in a future agenda item. Speaking about transportation for students, so I think it's a good segue to talk about. And I think that knowing how many students need it, to how much alumni is basically they're giving as much as they can, but I bet there's more students that need it. So I'd like to.
So I hear you say that you're interested, you're thinking bus transportation.
Well, the
and-
transportation fee.
I mean, in general, but
Yeah.
you're going for a number, a feel for our students, how many of our students need it, and what our current agreement is with the Sunline.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
That's right. Thank you.
Trustee Wilson?
I have no items, Madam Chair, but I just do want to remind the board that I will not be at May's board meeting. Again, I'll be attending my daughter's graduation in San Francisco.
I'm going to talk about.
She'll be exhausted.
She will be.
She won't even be able to-
Congratulations to your daughter.
Yes, I have one that just came out through the UC. I'd like to see that new MOU, if we could have a study session on that new agreement that Janet, I cannot pronounce her last name, this UC Chancellor and the Cal State Chancellor that have made a guarantee, an MOU, a memorandum with all the California community colleges, that they're guaranteed a UC seat. And I'd like for us to do a study session and provide more information to our students about this guarantee to a UC in Cal. Right now it's just Cal State, but she just announced 2 weeks ago that they now have a guarantee at all the UC. So I think that is very important because that's what we're here. We're only here for 2 years and transferred to the UC. So I'd like to see that, a little more about that, and share that news with our community of the Coachella Valley and our students. Thank you so much.
Fred, any?
This week, Chronicle of Higher Ed had a cover story about the aging of the California Higher Education Master Plan, that it is aged and troubled. And one of the things it points out in a very pointed way is that for all practical purposes, the 3 elements could exist in separate states.
Yes.
And it does raise some real questions about transfer, as you stated. And I think at some point, not soon, but sometime in the future, if we could look at that issue, not so much just in terms of numbers of students that transfer, but more in depth in terms of what they're going for.
Yeah, that's important. You're right.
In terms of what can we do to bring the things that they're looking for here. Does that make sense? Interesting article. It's clear that the Education Master Plan desperately needs rethinking.
And as education changes,
Yeah.
which it's doing rapidly, then I think we'll find that it's more out of date than even we see it today.
And one of the interesting statements in the article is why did each of the state's 114 community colleges had to make its own articulation arrangements with all of the individual CSUs?
See, right, when I moved to this state and discovered that, I thought it was bizarre, because I grew up in a world where you graduated from, they were junior colleges, not community colleges, but you graduated from the junior college, and that 2 years transfer.
Point of order, I think we're just talking about future agenda
True,
items.
good. Okay, so we want to revisit the state educational plan and more specifically.
Transfer.
Transfer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the numbers, but what they're looking for.
What they're looking for, okay. Yes.
I,
Making notes.
again, will reiterate a comment I made at the beginning. We can't be too vigilant. We need to have an update periodically on our safety plan, and I'm hoping that something new maybe will have materialized in the next month or so that we can have an updated report and something new that we have in place. Also, as you said, the technology accessibility for all of our students throughout the Coachella Valley. I remember I was on the board for my 3rd year. I went to a training in Riverside, San Bernardino County, actually, in Ontario for all of Southern California. And we were spoken to by our state legislators about the California Action Plan to make technology accessible. And I've been on the board 19 years, so that's like 16 years ago. Hasn't happened yet. So there's got to be something out there that maybe we can look into that we can be doing, or some action that we can take.
So I hear that we're looking for an update on transportation, some information about the new MOU discussion from going to Cal State and
UC.
And UC. Look from thinking of the state educational plan we're interested in what students are transferring to learn, what their goals are. We're interested in our safety plan, and we're still looking for the technology accessibility. Remember that when there is an idea or a need for future agenda items, they can be emailed to Julia and worked from that direction. So, is there any need for closed session? Okay, seeing none, seeing no more business on our agenda, are there any objections to adjourning the meeting? Hearing no objections, we adjourn at 10 minutes after 3.